All right, hello everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today to talk about how NAB transformed their self-service experiences with Amazon Connect. My name is Jim Kreitler. I'm product manager here at AWS on the Amazon Connect team focused on our IVR and conversational AI offers. I'll be joined in a few minutes by Rebecca Congdon and Alex Kosher from NAB, that's what, the short for National Australia Bank, to share how they modernize their self-service experience with Amazon Connect while improving customer satisfaction and speeding the pace of innovation that they're able to deliver customers. Did everybody get some tam-tams on your way in? All right, where's Millie? Millie, raise your hand. I don't know if she's here. All right, well, those came all the way from Australia, and if you see someone named Millie, you should thank her because she brought them for you. All right, so before we get started, I want to start with sharing a few statistics that capture the importance of customer experience on today's businesses, because they really help to paint the picture of why I'm so excited for Alex and Beck to share the story with you today. First up, in a McKinsey study focused on IVR and conversational AI specifically, they were able to measure a 10 to 15% boost in sales or conversion rates tied to a positive customer experience. And in a recent customer benchmarking report from NTT, where they surveyed hundreds of industry professionals in contact center and customer experience, they found that 44% of businesses today say that they can clearly show the tie between positive experiences and increased revenues. So this demonstrates that more than ever, executives understand the importance of positive customer experience and that they're investing to measure and quantify its impact on the business. And this might be because we know that 3/4 of consumers are more likely to stay loyal to a brand that delivers positive experiences. Meanwhile, on the flip side, PwC shows us that 92% of consumers, we're a fickle bunch, will abandon a product or service after just 2 or 3 negative experiences. And Accenture estimates that this costs brands in the United States alone $1.6 trillion each and every year. So clearly we're seeing a shared understanding grow around the importance of customer experience, and I think that's great. But my favorite stat from this slide is that 44%, almost half of all businesses today, can now clearly show and evidence that tie between positive experiences and increased revenues. So when the same industry professionals were asked which technologies are most likely to reshape their contact center operation in the next 5 years, it's no surprise that analytics came in number 1. What I find really interesting when you dig just a little bit deeper here is that the next 5 technologies behind analytics include natural language understanding, virtual assistants, automation, personalization, and what's my last one there? And journey management. All right, 5 solutions that come together in one place, your IVR. And similarly, in their 2021 Contact Center Buyer's Guide, Contact Babel saw a 51% increase in businesses that found AI-assisted service as very important to their contact center operation. Now, in comparison, for reference, no other technology category increased by more than 3% in that same 12-month period. So let's be clear, IVRs and speech recognition are not new technologies. And I think all of us, if we were asked, probably might struggle to find the last time that we really enjoyed talking to an IVR. Now, I think that that's because, I might be biased, but I think that's because the best automated experiences are so natural that they're unremarkable. We simply get the information we need, complete our transaction, hang up the phone, and move on with our day. But as business professionals, we do have to dig a little bit deeper. And when we focus on the ROI, the return on investment of self-service, and in particular voice self-service, the impact of the IVR on both customer experience and our business becomes very clear. So for example, these stats show why voice self-service, your IVR, is perhaps the most impactful place to invest in improving customer experience today. First up, 75% of interactions with contact centers are still via voice. So the IVR remains our customer front door and their first point of escalation to the business. Not surprisingly, interactions fully automated in the IVR, when a customer gets the information they need or they can complete their transaction without ever speaking to an agent, are drastically less expensive, around 90% less expensive than any call that reaches an agent. In fact, every point of IVR containment in a large enterprise call center with high call volumes can deliver $2 to $3 million in operational savings each and every year. For example, at just one large bank in North America, McKinsey found that just a 50% containment rate can deliver upwards of $100 million in savings in a single year. And that's the kind of return on investment that can help drive profitability in any industry. Finally, NTT found that 70% of those under the age of 25 actually prefer automation to solve their problems. So now is the time for us to start experimenting and getting these automated experiences right, not just for our business's bottom line, but for our next generation of customers. It's also why I'm so excited to introduce my colleagues from NAB in just a few minutes to share how they automated 95% of all telephone banking calls, which represents 70 to 75% of all calls that they receive from customers. All right, last set of stats, I promise. It's late on a Thursday. I'm really impressed that you all made it here at all the way to the end of the line, last session of the week. Well done. But these stats are great because they show us, now that we understand the importance of the IVR and voice self-service, they help us to understand where to focus to get things right for our customers. So first, let's consider why customers will zero out or abandon the IVR. 36% say that they'll abandon because it just takes too long. There are too many options, the menus are too long for them to get to where they need to get the help that they want. This amounts to their customer effort. How hard is it for them to solve their problem? However, 67%, almost twice as many, say that they'll abandon the moment that they feel like the IVR doesn't understand them or it won't let them complete their transaction completely. Now, this could be based on, historically, whether the IVR allowed them to complete a transaction in the past, as much or more to how natural and capable they think the IVR is to understand what they're trying to say. So how do we get it right? Number one, we need to make it easy. Amazon Connect customers that have upgraded these touch tone or directed dialogue menu-based experiences to natural language are seeing as much as a 69 to 91% decrease in the time that their customers spend interacting with the IVR. And this makes sense because instead of taking them through long, complicated menus with lots of different options, they're able to simply greet the customer and ask, "How can I help?" And that's making things easy. Additionally, McKinsey found that personalizing customer experience can deliver 25% increased customer satisfaction, and that when contact centers identify callers and integrate with their backend systems to understand why a customer might be calling and proactively offer them options to solve their problem, they see as much as 2 to 5% additional containment. Now, 2 to 5% might not sound like a lot, but if we think about the numbers from the last slide from McKinsey, 2 to 5% additional containment in a large call center with high call volumes can deliver $6 to $15 million in operational savings each year. So how do we get it right for our customers? We need to make it easy, personalize the experiences, and actually allow them to solve their problems within that automated experience. And it's working with customers like NAB that we've seen exactly how Amazon Connect, Lex, and AWS machine learning can lower costs, improve the customer experience, and speed the pace of innovation. In a moment, I'll introduce Beck and Alex to share how they automated 95% of all telephone banking calls, improve customer experience, and reduce both transfers and the time that customers spend interacting with the IVR by creating a more conversational, natural experience, all the while reducing the time it takes for them to deliver new IVR experiences or update those experiences by as much as 80%, using Amazon Connect, Lex, and their custom Poly brand voice. But before I do that, I do have to say a couple words about Amazon Connect, just in case you happen to stumble all the way over to the Mandalay Bay on a Thursday afternoon and into the session without knowing Amazon Connect, or if you just haven't gotten familiar with the solution yet. Amazon Connect is one of the fastest growing services in AWS's history. Tens of thousands of customers around the globe use Amazon Connect to handle upwards of 10 million interactions per day. Large companies like NAB, Adidas, and Delta Airlines love being able to experiment with the agility of a startup, while customers with smaller contact center operations, such as ChartSpan or Slice Pizza, love that they can get an enterprise-grade contact center at startup prices. Now, I want to take a moment to thank and celebrate those contact center leaders, managers, supervisors, and agents that trusted Amazon Connect to help innovate their customer experience. It's the success of customers like these that keeps us so focused on innovation. And as Amazon Connect grows, we continue to work with our customers to identify and launch new solutions like the ones that you've heard about this week to solve real-world problems. So for example, setting up an Amazon Connect contact center can be done with just a few clicks and includes a fully managed global telephony network. So your agents can literally begin fielding calls within minutes from anywhere around the globe with just a browser and a headset. Amazon Connect scales to meet any contact center workload size, and you only pay for what you use. So you can onboard tens of thousands of agents at will in response to, let's say, unforeseen events or seasonal changes in your business, and scale back down just as easily. You can even deliver the personalized, natural-sounding conversational interactions that we've been talking about today with direct access to build and tune your IVR with our proven speech recognition and natural language understanding technology. And Connect makes it easier than ever to experiment and deliver innovation to customers by integrating a host of other features directly into the solution. From the moment that you greet a customer on their channel of choice, all the way to measuring the outcome of those interactions, Amazon Connect makes it easier than ever to leverage artificial intelligence and machine learning at every step of that customer journey. You can turn on features such as Voice ID to authenticate a customer and spot fraudsters, Lex for that advanced conversational speech and text automation across 27 different languages and locales and growing, customer profiles to more easily consolidate customer records while reducing the development effort and the latency associated with integrating to multiple backend systems, wisdom to provide both customers and agents with real-time suggestions for knowledge articles that can help them solve common problems on their own or understand difficult, complex products and solutions, and even contact lens and surveys to better measure the outcomes of these interactions and spot opportunities to improve. These and more AI-enabled features come fully integrated with Connect and offer the same pay-as-you-go pricing, which helps foster innovation and experimentation by avoiding long-term commitments. So with that, I would love to get your help in welcoming Alex and Beck to the stage, share their story with you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim. That was a great introduction. I'm Alex Kosher from NAB. Introduce me.
Beck Condon from NAB.
I'll take you through the agenda to start with, and then we'll jump into the presentation. So we'll talk to you today about who we are, National Australia Bank. We say NAB for short. Why we needed to evolve, why we needed to change, some of our challenges that we faced along the way from a business and technology perspective, some of our results, from our customers' perspective, from our colleague perspective, we call them colleagues, our agents. From a platform security perspective, some resilience and availability uplift that we've got, some delivery speed improvements that we made as well, and cost reduction overall as well. And finally, we'll talk about what next, where to next for us. And with that, it's over to Beck.
Okay, I'll let you.
I'll control the slides.
Yeah, you can control the slides. Okay, so who is NAB? So we're the National Australia Bank, but we like to shorten things in Australia, so we refer to ourselves as the NAB, NAB. We are an organisation that has over 33,000 employees or colleagues, and we support customers in the realm of about 8.5 million. We're certainly a relatively large organisation. We're the 52nd largest bank in the globe, and certainly within Australia, we're actually one of the big four. From a customer perspective, our key focus is to certainly support our customers, serve them well, and help our communities prosper. What underpins that is our strategic ambition, which is really focused around digital first and human when it matters. From a social impact perspective, NAB's really committed in this space, particularly in the areas of climate change, servicing and supporting our Indigenous Australians, as well as providing support during periods of natural disaster. If we look a little bit smaller now and focus on the contact centre, we have about 44 contact centres around Australia, and we have about 4,500 contact centre colleagues or agents that sit and service those contact centres. Our journey with AWS onto Amazon Connect started 4 years ago. And initially we spun up and stood up the first contact centre in about 6 weeks. It was a very small and simple contact centre. And then the years that followed was about building out the core foundation with the critical capability that would allow us to start to migrate and transition our largest and most complex contact centres that support our key lines of business, which is business banking, personal banking, corporate finance and online banking. So we're really excited that you did make the trip down here for one of the last sessions of what's been a really busy week for everybody. We appreciate you doing that. And so we're really going to take you through what that journey's been like, some of those key challenges, how we faced into them, and hopefully give you some outcomes that, or out deliveries that you can take away with you that might help you on your journey as well. So Alex, I'm going to throw over to you to take us through what were some of the key problems and why we really needed to evolve.
Sure, thanks, Beck. And we'll have some time for Q&A at the end as well, so answer some questions. As Beck mentioned, our strategic ambition is to be digital first and human where it matters. Our previous technology didn't allow that seamless transition between digital and our contact centre. It was one of the main reasons to change. The legacy technology didn't deliver that roadmap. Also, customer preferences have changed during COVID, less cash in the economy, customers using the branch network less. Hybrid working between home and office changed the way people work, including our agents, having to do the hybrid model now between home and work. There's increased levels and sophistication of fraud. In Australia, just in the last couple of months, there's been quite a large number of data breaches, which means that customers aren't clicking links when you send them an SMS or even answering phone calls without some acknowledgement that you are a legitimate caller or getting in touch with them for a legitimate purpose. There's also smart devices like Alexa, so people are they're more comfortable with being able to talk to technology and have those voice interactions, those automated voice interactions. And the majority of customers now prefer digital over and having those automated conversations. And what we found is as long as they know that there's a human, if they need to have that further human conversation. We needed to simplify our colleague or agent experience. We had new starters coming into our contact centre trying to learn over a dozen different applications, very complex in terms of alt-tabbing between different apps to try and have a single conversation. So we need to simplify the agent desktop experience. And the compelling event really was an end-of-life, end-of-support arrangement or contract with our legacy platform. So we needed to take that next step. And there's a broader strategy of moving to the cloud. We landed on Amazon Connect and have got a large relationship with AWS as well. So as Beck mentioned, we've been concentrating on migrating our largest, more complex contact centres this year, whereas previous years we did the smaller ones. We've got about 3 to 6 months to go before we finish the job. We've just got to do the outbound. So predictive, progressive outbound is our final feature that we need to build. And then we can decommission our legacy platform and then move into our quite large backlog of work that we've got as well that we'll talk to as well. So with that, over to Beck to talk about some of our business challenges.
So from a business perspective, we had sort of 4 key areas that we really wanted to face into. The first one was around personalisation. We wanted to make sure that the customer experience and effort was quite seamless. And as Alex said, with COVID, our customers became a lot more comfortable transacting in channels. And so we've seen an increase in our internet banking and our mobile app. And so we certainly wanted to continue to build that out and support our customers in the channel that they choose to use at the time that they choose to interact with us. Meeting our customers where they are and really bridging that gap between the digital experience as well as the in-person or the agent experience was really important. Quite often they'll need to move between those channels, and so we really needed to have a platform with capability that would enable us to continue along that journey, not just for our customers but also for our colleagues. Minimising the impact of change. So the last time we actually embarked on a change of this scale at NAB for our contact centres was 10 years ago. We don't often do change of this scale for a reason, and so we were really mindful of that at the time. And so we wanted to make sure that the change would make sense, it would land successfully, it would be well received and adopted quickly, and enable us to continue to iteratively change at pace. And then the last area was around improving visibility and speed. So for our bankers or agents, as Alex mentioned, they can answer one query with anywhere between 12 and 16 different applications. And so we really wanted to try and simplify that for them, but also provide them key insights of the customer that actually was being delivered to them. We wanted them to be able to know they've come through Authenticator, what channel were they in previously, are they digitally active? If so, what? So that they can start to really personalise and customise those interactions and really improve that overall experience and feel like they're really adding value to that interaction and that experience. So they're the business challenges. There are also a number of technical challenges, Alex, that I know that you want to take the group through.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So where we started from, we didn't have the people. So the first challenge we had to build a team to deliver this outcome. So we had a group of people who knew how to manage a third-party software, somebody else's software, and the infrastructure that supported those applications. So I've now got a team of 5 squads, or 6 if you include our squad that's decommissioning legacy, but we've had to build a team who have completely different skills. So they're software developers, web developers, cloud engineers, DevOps. These were all new capabilities that we brought in to manage or build and migrate the platform. Some people did retrain and recertify and learn, which is fantastic. We also brought in new people. I've actually got more people now than I did previously, and we could afford to do that by not paying the third-party software support and maintenance and removing the infrastructure. So it's great. The building that team with the right skills and the right structure was a big challenge. We had some help from some partners, so we brought ThoughtWorks in to help us set up some of the software development capability. We worked with AWS Professional Services, ProServe, to help us with the contact flows and building Amazon Connect. We had Voice Foundry help us a bit as well. So we worked with some partners. What those 3 partners all have in common, though, is they all come in, help you build a capability and then move on. They don't stick around for the long term, which is great. So we've now got an internal capability and engineering skills that allow us to sort of build new features. So that was a core challenge that we had to face into. The other one was defining scope and key deliverables. So we had constant conversations around scope definition. Amazon Connect is not the same as our legacy platform, and our legacy platform did evolve over many years, and the business did have a lot of creative ways of, delivering their business outcomes and processes that were built within the application. So scope definition was key, looking at what Amazon Connect had out of the box and looking at how we had to configure it to meet the business requirements. So that's scope definition. And lastly, we had to navigate some environmental changes. Just due to, over the last 4 years, COVID, we had all of our bankers, agents working from home. Unfortunately, they were our most complex contact center. We weren't ready to bring them onto Amazon Connect, so we had to hand them a laptop and a mobile phone and almost pause the program for 6 to 9 months because we had to refocus on getting our legacy platform capable of enabling that, and then we went back to delivering the rest. So there were some environmental challenges that we faced as well.
All right, so from a customer journey perspective, this slide's really simplistic. So I'll take you through, fundamentally, this is what we wanted to create. And then Alex is going to take you through the applications and what that experience is like for our customers from the moment they transact in a channel to being delivered to an actual agent and what that experience is like for our agents or our colleagues. So from a customer journey perspective, I mentioned before, we really want to be able to meet our customers in their channel of choice at a time that suits them. We want to be able to make sure that we're able to bring together that digital and that human experience and make sure that what we're presenting to the agents when the call is presented to them is a consolidated view of that customer so that they can have some really personalised conversations and not have to waste time re-authenticating them, going back through that process. They can literally just verify, yes, this is who I'm speaking with, and get on with the core issue that needs resolving. And so that was really what we were trying to achieve. We wanted to keep it simple. We wanted to make sure we connected both the digital and the human experience, and we wanted to make sure that it was seamless for both our colleagues and our customers. So Alex, do you want to give us a bit of a live example of what that looks like?
Sure. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this because there's a lot of information on there that I'm trying to get through. So I'll take you, we've got a large number of phone numbers, probably far too many, inbound phone numbers that our customers call us on. Most of them, press 1 for this, press 2 for that, and you routed to a queue and get answered by an agent. We do have one that you can call and it goes straight into Lex and with an open dialogue, welcome to National Australia Bank, how can we help you today? And but our main number, our primary number, which is 13 Bank in Australia, gets about 1 million calls a month, has this experience that I'll take you through. So it's a DTMF push button, press 1 for telephone banking. We've got a large number of customers who still no telephone banking, press all the numbers to get their account balance and pay bills, and we didn't want to upset that low-cost, highly automated customer base, so we kept that flow. Press 2 if you want to speak to someone. That takes you into our Lex bot, which is our triage bot, we call it. So that's the open dialogue. How can we help you today? So I can put you through to the right area, so that understands your intent. And so that experience turns your utterances into intent, and from there we are able to make a decision. So we built a routing decision service, and it takes into account all of the attributes that we've collected about the contact, about the call, up until that point. So we have a high-risk country, sanctioned region process or service, which determines if the call originated from a high-risk country, we treat the call differently. If the caller is calling us from a phone number that we know is digitally active, they've got the mobile app on their phone and we know that they use it, we can treat that call differently because they're digitally active. And there's other attributes that we can use to make the decision as to what we do next. We can play announcements, we can put them into a queue, we can do various things. And we've got a backlog of work to automate a lot of those higher volume, more simple calls. But at the moment, most of them go through to a queue, land on with a banker, with an agent. They get an integrated banker desktop. So we built out a custom CCP, so contact control panel, which is what Amazon Connect provides out of the box. We put a custom UI, and that is integrated with our CRM system, but we've got within National Australia Bank, as well as a new mini app that we've developed for authentication. So understanding the authentication status of the caller and managing authentication. So that integrated experience allows the banker to start the conversation, and then has seemed much better than what it was previously. We've had some really good feedback from our colleagues about that experience. The contact itself generates contact trace records data. The agent generates agent event streams data. All of that is streamed into our eventing platform. We use Kafka, so Kinesis to Kafka, K to K we call it. Kafka, we have a topic that people can subscribe to. We've got fraud events being subscribing to that, so they can generate alerts and alarms if there's a fraud attributes that happen out of telephone banking that hit that topic. We generate post-contact surveys, so we've got an area of our business that's subscribed to that topic to generate post-contact surveys, SMSs or push notifications to do a post-contact survey within minutes. And there's various other uses, reporting statistics and other uses of that eventing platform, so we can generate an event based on that. We have deployed a proof of concept for contact lens within one of our areas, and so that can also generate an event based on the transcribed conversation about certain words and phrases that are mentioned, and based on that we can also generate events as well. So there's a lot there where, like I said, we've built quite a complex foundation, which is fit for purpose for our most complex contact centres, which is great. Our next step is to build out the outbound capability for us to complete what we need in order to decommission our legacy platform, and then we'll talk about where to next after that.
Thanks, Alex. So results. So contact centres love data and they love results, and certainly when you go through a change of this magnitude, the key thing is making sure that the results that you have been getting don't degrade and the service doesn't degrade. And certainly for us, we wanted to make sure that the impact to both our colleagues and customers was minimised during this significant piece of work. So really pleased that we now have 100% of our inbound teams fully migrated to the platform. Inbound equates to about 90% of that 4,500 agents across the country. So it's the primary interaction type for us. And we actually migrated just the last group this week, which was really exciting. As Alex said, we've got the remaining 400 to 500 left to go, which will come in 2023 when we've built the outbound dialer capability. In terms of personalisation, we maintained a number of key measures and improved on some. So from an NPS perspective, a couple of years ago we were actually fourth out of the big four banks within Australia, and over the last 12 months we've moved that forward, and we're sitting at number 2, and we maintain that position through this significant change. We actually hit number 1 for a couple of months there in February and March, which we actually liked that position. So we're certainly targeting getting back to that and staying there over the course of the next 12 months. That certainly is a challenge we've set for ourselves. Employee engagement, or ESAT, some of you might refer to it, that's really important for us at NAB. And we survey our colleagues in a number of different ways, but certainly we maintained a top quartile position. We also surveyed all of our contact centres 2 weeks after they migrated to the platform, and we had overwhelming positive feedback around the change approach, the type of training and support that they had. Our bankers, compared to this type of change that we did 10 years earlier, our bankers were actually really excited, not just about what they were moving to on day one and actually having an integrated single pane of glass, which was unknown in the contact centre world, but they were just really excited about what the future could potentially hold for both them, but also for them in servicing our customers. So that the employee satisfaction was significant in this particular program of work. In terms of IVR and containment in our self-service channels for telephone banking, the key for us was very much around building the foundation to be able to migrate our customers and our services and minimise impact to those customers. As Alex said, our customers that use the telephone banking solution have been doing so for a long time, and they don't want that to change. So really making sure that that experience was seamless for them was really critical, and we were able to maintain that 80% target of containment in the IVR, which is still climbing, and we've got a lot of work that we've got on the backlog to continue to improve that containment rate. And then the self-service side from telephone banking remained at 95%, and again, we still look to do some work in that space once we finish the job with the outbound dialer space. And the last area was around transfer rates. We've all called contact centres before, where you get moved from one department to another, and it's really frustrating. And certainly that's been a focus for all of our contact centres over the last number of years. That's continued to reduce. It's around about 18%, and certainly a lot of the features on our backlog are really focused on continuing to get our callers or customers to the right banker first time to further reduce that 18%. So there's some of the business results that we achieved as a result of this large-scale complex transformation. Alex, what about flexibility, speed, service availability and financials?
I'll start with cost. So yes, Amazon Connect has turned out to be cheaper than our legacy platform, which is fantastic. We've managed to claw back quite a number of costs and legacy platforms and unnecessary cost within the business as a result of this. I mentioned before, when we sent over 3,000 call centre agents home during COVID, we gave them a laptop and a mobile phone. We were able to take the mobile phone back because you don't need that on Amazon Connect anymore, so that was great. We had a lot of legacy network infrastructure in our data centres that we've been able to switch off and remove, telco costs and internal costs and infrastructure. There's a large amount of savings by decommissioning the legacy applications, so no more software support and maintenance and various other elements that went into the cost of our legacy platform. So it's been really encouraging for us and the business. Flexibility and speed, we measure this by from the time an idea all the way through to benefit of having something deployed into production in the hands of the end users. That has decreased and is decreasing as we go through those sprint cycles and get better at what we call progressive elaboration through definition of what the outcome is, the business outcome, all the way through to delivery from a technical perspective. We've also in terms of service availability, year-on-year reductions of about 30% over the last few years. mainly in our critical and high severity incidents, which is great. We're now focused on those low to medium areas. It's cloud is much more stable in terms of service availability, and we have found that the incidents that we have had are lower severity and faster to resolve in nature. So that has been a really pleasing result of the migration as well. So I'm just going to introduce Mark Bayless.
Experienced across our team actually in probably a decade. And it lines really nicely with our digital first and human when it matters ambition. At its core though, it's really here to serve our customers well, really lines up with our company values and our vision. And for the NAB group, it really moves us closer to a simple and digital life, I guess, by improving those experiences again for our colleagues and flow on to our customers. One of the unexpected things that came up is actually a bit faster. We actually thought that it might be a bit slower when we implemented it, but we're pleased to say that actually our bankers are finding it a little bit easier than the Genesis system. And that's been really great for our customers. It means that they can get on and off a lot quicker. It also speaks a lot to the adoption and how easy that's been. And the change team have done a wonderful job in training this in and communicating and the preparation they've put forward throughout the change.
So as you can see there, Mark is our key exec for Personal Direct, which is our largest contact centre. He was also the sponsor of this particular program. When he joined us about 18 months ago, he was really keen on being the first of our largest, most complex contact centres to go, whereas 10 years ago when we did a similar platform change, that particular contact centre definitely was going last. They didn't want to be the first to go, whereas he really wanted to lead that change. And we certainly saw some really great feedback from him in that little soundbite. So in terms of some key takeouts from Alex and myself, top-down leadership. So making sure that you've got the right people in the right roles. We were really fortunate to have great leaders as part of our executive steering committee, or SteerCo as we call it at NAB. They allowed us to focus on what we needed to do, but helped support that with ongoing communication that was consistent at all levels of the organisation, and it was repetitive. So by the time teams migrated, they were really ready, and as I said before, really excited for the change. In terms of right plan, Alex referenced this before, being really clear around what you are going to deliver is just as important as being clear on what you're not going to deliver. We made that call very early on, and it became absolutely crucial for us, especially during moments where we had some contentious conversations, but we also had to prioritise some things. You know, we didn't get to do everything we wanted to do, and you won't be able to do everything you want to do. And so having a really clear plan around what you do need to deliver and what you're not going to deliver allows you to make those priority calls. The last area, as Alex mentioned, is around right partners. So it has been a really long journey for us, and AWS has been shoulder to shoulder with us, whether it be initially over Zoom or whether it be literally physically co-located in the space. That's been really critical for us. We had to do a lot of co-development in the early days, especially before we were able to migrate our largest contact centre teams, and making sure that we were collaborating on that meant that we were able to solve those problems quickly and be able to get our people migrated as quickly as possible. So with that, I might hand over to you, Alex, just to round that out for the last 3 key takeouts.
Yeah, and it wasn't all easy sailing. There was a few bumps along the road, but what did help, and Beck, you're absolutely right, having a business sponsor who was willing for it to be a bit bumpy. He admitted that and was okay with that. Also in technology, we had some executive sponsorship to really push into the whole public cloud first. Really investing. We've got what we call a NAB Cloud Guild, which has a whole training regime and certification around AWS and Azure, just cloud upskilling. And so we've got a really strong guild around our engineering areas within NAB, which really helped. The Amazon Connect today is different to the Amazon Connect it was 4 years ago. They've released, I don't know, hundreds of features over that time. So we did have to develop a few features ourselves. That's probably the reason why it took so long. And so that's been an interesting ride. But working with AWS has helped us as well and helped them improve their product as well. So good relationship with partners, including AWS, the right team in technology, good engineering culture, able to solve problems and work through those issues when we uncover them. Business sponsorship, lots of communication with the business around scope, what can be done, what can't be done, what are the trade-offs, lots of trade-off discussions, time frame, dollars, all of that. But having a culture that enables those conversations to take place was really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's you next?
Can for Beck and Alex. Please hang out. We'll do Q&A.
Yeah,
just
sure.
a moment. All right, speaking of getting started, our job's not to just send you off here with a free tier and have you figure it out on your own. There's a lot that we can do to support you in the process if you're making a similar journey as Beck and Alex did. And we've got the specialized partners, the ProServe community that can help you along in that process. Speaking of partners, I don't know if there's anyone from NeuroFlash out there. Yep, we've got someone from NeuroFlash back there. We're talking about moving over some of the existing experiences that NAB had. NeuroFlash has actually developed, with our Lex team, a conversion tool that can take your existing VXML grammars and migrate them over to Lex a little bit more than with the push of a button, but very, very quickly. So if you're interested, we've got some folks from NeuroFlash there. Finally, if you'd like to learn more about what we're doing in the contact center, you can take a look on our website, set up a free cloud contact center, learn more about our recent innovations, and dive into blogs and documentation. So with that, I'd love to open it up for questions. Anybody has any? Yeah, got one there. There is a mic right here if you'd like, or I can repeat your question, however you like.